few more people filter on, and then we will go into this stretch session. So today we're going to add in a few more sort of different types of stretches. The last couple of weeks we've been doing kind of like a Pilates flow for the stretch sessions, where we're working down through the body and working down through. We're going to keep that sort of format today, but we're going to put in a few more stretches for a couple of different areas. So we're going to work on ankle mobility with a few movement stretches. We're going to do a couple of dynamic stretches in this for mobility work. We're going to do a few assisted stretches in this also. So if you want to grab yourself a towel, we're going to need it for a few assisted stretches. So we're just going to give ourselves, this is going to be kind of a mix between the Pilates flow that I tend to do, but also a sort of a dynamic full body stretch session where you're going to completely loosen yourself out through the entire session. So go ahead and grab yourself a towel for this, guys. I'll give you all a minute to do that, and then we'll do a wee quick warm up, and then we will go into the full stretch. Order myself a new strap for this watch because it keeps clicking off. So yeah, I hope you all had a good week again, guys. We had the pub quiz last night, and we had a good crowd on with us. There was 16 or 17 on with us. And the app that we use for it, the Kahoot app, is absolutely fantastic. It's really, really handy to use, and it gives you leaderboards. It gives you who's in the lead and whether you're passing out the other person. It's a cool little app that allows you to go through everything in that. So once you get started, guys, I'm actually going to change this up a little bit just because this is going to get too much forward. I need you further back. That should get the mat in and everything with that. So again, guys, just with this, so this is going to be a mix between the usual flow, but also sort of kickboxing and everything else, all the different stretches that I would have done over the years. We're going to just work through a lot of things like this here today. So it'll be slightly different than what we normally do. So just big circles of the arms. Just nice long circles round, just to really listen out through. See that sort of swiping, do it at the bottom and letting it flow round. Not too hard, but we're just trying to listen round, and then same thing opposite way. Go round, so you're swiping up and letting it flow round. Relax that down. From there, neck, we're just going to one side, other side. So you're just trying to give that little bit of a stretch down through. The muscles here, the sternocleidomastoid, they control holding the head up, but also in your sit-ups, they tend to get used by people for either supporting the head, or if people tend to flex, then they will do that side to side. You end up doing like a sit-up with them. That's the reason people's necks tend to hurt when they're doing sit-ups. Just nice down through with that. From there, we're just going to circle up and then circle back around. So we're not going to do a full circle. You're going to do semicircle up to one, semicircle down around to another. You may hear crunching and creaking as you're doing this. Your neck takes a lot, especially if you're working on a computer. A lot at the moment, your neck's going to be taking a lot of the brunt of what we're doing. So it does no harm to give it a bit of a. And again, this is all movement based. We're going to stretch based work later on for these, but we're going to work our way down through to the bottom of the body. So from there, we're going to work through that waist. So again, Cossack position with the arms, rotate through, rotate through. So the rotation is coming from the upper body. If you find that you're just moving your arms and you can't seem to get the technique, hug yourself. plant your feet into the floor and you're trying to make it that you're rotating from that mid-body, chest is moving. You can go into Cossack, and then we're going to progress this. Now we're going to add in the pec stretch. Open it up, close it in. Open it up, close it in. Two more. Good. Palms together. So turn your right palm at 45-degree angle, and we're going to open up. So again, this is a different type of way of what we normally do. The Pilates flow that we normally do is a nice sort of flow through from these sessions. But a lot of us have been training now for about 4 or 5 weeks. If you've been go the opposite direction, if you've been with us since we were doing the free workouts, then some of us have been training for 9-10 weeks. So we're going to try and focus a little bit more and get a bit of a longer stretch today. Good. So from there, we're just going to reach over. Same again, reach over. So as you reach, I want you not to turn. I want you to go right over and then push at the last minute. And you should feel that pull coming from the left into your side and down into that hip. So you're reaching over. Again, some stretches get lost over time. It's like certain exercises get lost over time where something fancier or new comes along and people move on from what, and then we're going to change sides. Would have worked before. So this here's the type of thing you would have seen the Jane Fondas and people like that doing back in the 80s, where they'd been stretching across, but and leotards and leg warmers, stretch that through. And then people sort of moved on from it into more dynamic mobility work and things like that. And it was like, well then they don't work anymore because X, Y, and Z. If it works, it works, and this works. So you're getting a pull down through. Again, we're doing a slightly dynamic movement, so we're not doing a static stretch. You never static stretch at the start. You would do more static stretching at the end whenever your body's more warmed up. Back down and feet underneath the shoulders, just long circles round. So again, we're just going to work our way down through. So we're upper body, we're doing rotation for that thoracic spine. Now we're coming in through them hips. And again, if your hip flexors are tight, you'll feel this pull at the front. If you have sort of lower back tightness, you'll feel it pull as you come through at the side. And then back the opposite way, circle the opposite way around. And again, this is the precursor to the stretches we're going to go into. Relax that. From there, just feet together, bend the knees, your hands are on top of the thighs, above the knee, and we're going to circle. So we're going circles through this. You're not really pushing down your knees, it's more just for balance, but it's short circles. This is getting in through the knee, but it's also getting in through the ankles. Because you're trying to keep your heels on the floor, and if you're tight through your ankles, this can cause you, opposite way, not to be able to squat properly. So if you've got bad dorsiflexion or plantar flexion, so dorsal or plantar moving up and down of your foot, then you're not going to be able to get into a deep squat. Relax that. So up in the ball of the foot and then circles through from there. So we're just circling through that ankle joint. So at times whenever people come in, if I'm doing one-on-one training with them, and they say they can't squat, and it's because of X, Y, and Z, whenever I check the ankle mobility, other way, at times it's that. They've got bad ankle mobility. And if we can raise maybe their heel up, so that's why if you've ever seen a power lifter or guys wearing those squat shoes that have the 1 inch heel or the 3/4 of an inch heel, what that does is it lifts, change size, it lifts your heel off the floor slightly, and that allows them to get deeper into the squat because they've got bad ankle mobility. Or if you've ever tried to squat in high heels for the ladies, or some of the guys, up to you, other way, you will always be able to drop into a full squat because your ankles are way up off the floor like this, which means there's no restriction, which means you'll just drop into that squat position easy. You can nearly sit on your heels. Relax that. So we're just going to go onto one side, so be careful this one. So we're just pushing over onto one side, then back, then we're pushing over on the other side. So we're just pushing our heel or our foot over to one side, back down, over to the other side. You're going onto the side of your foot, then back to center, onto the side of the foot, back to center, onto the side of the foot, back to center, onto the side of the foot, back to center. We're going to do two more. Side of the foot, back to center, side of the foot, back to center. Just check that out. So we're going to go into the mobility work, kind of like what we do with the classes. We're going to change it very slightly. So reach down, grab the toes, sit down into it. This will be difficult for you to get down in between if you've got those ankle mobility issues, but we're going to work on that in a minute. So hold this position. From this position, we're going to bring the hands up, then we're going to stand up from here. So if you're restricted in the upper back, it's going to work into that. We're going to bend down, grab the toes, arms goes inside the legs, sit down deep as you can, hands come up, stand up. We're going to do 6 of these. Grab down and grab the toes, sit down and push those knees out, get those hips down, chest forward. If you're rounded and you're slouched down in, your hands aren't going to come up. So you need to sit tall so you can get the hands up, stand up. We're going to do 3 more. So don't just collapse into your stretch. Chest forward, sit tall, tall spine, hands up, stand up. 2 more. Down in, grab, sit, chest forward, hips out, tall spine, hands up, stand up. And we're working to get in through those hips with this hold as well. Down in, sit down in, chest tall, stand up, down in. We're going to stay down this time. So down in, sit down in. So you've loosened that outside with those 6. I want you to put and push those knees out. Now sit tall. So that you should feel this inside your hips, coming down, round through into your glutes, lower back. And I want you to do a small rotation. At times we do this in the gym, people go down into it and they're not really concentrating on what they're doing. They're sort of down in, having a chat. Chest forward, tall spine, small movement, and you should feel your hip flexors working on this. You should feel your coming round from the hip flexor round into the glute. If you're tight in the lower back, you'll really feel the lower back in this. But my heels are down. You shouldn't be up on your toes in this. My heels are down. Widen the feet if you need. Turn your toes out if you need. Chest is tall. Hold that position. Hands on the floor. Push up. Foot round. Drop down into it. Then we're going to change. So again, that foot comes out round like a circle and drop down into it. I'll move myself around here in case I'm off cam. I don't have the TV on today so I can't see. And change. Foot out and round, drop down in. And again, we're going to progress this also. Change. If this is really difficult and can't get your foot out round, elevate yourself onto the sofa and do it. So get it into a position where you're putting the bent foot onto the sofa, away mat, change. So we can do 1 more each side here, and change. So what we're going to do this time, when we plant that foot, the hand beside the foot is going to rotate. Back down now. Hand beside the foot, left to left, left to the ceiling. Back down now. Change. Circle it out and round, rotate to the ceiling. Change. Let's go. Out round, so again that circle to allow you to get beside, change. Back down now. Out and round. We're doing 1 more each side. Back down now. Pull out and round. Rotate that up. Back, down, and good. So from there, we're going to work on that ankle mobility now, guys. So, with your ankle mobility, what we want is we want to plant your foot on the floor, keep the heel down, keep the toes down, but we're going to push your knee forward and back. And what that's going to do is that's going to create a little bit of movement on this. If you can't do it off the floor, you can do it off a chair. So from a chair position, plant your chair, the foot goes here, like this, and then you push the knee forward and back, but keep your heel down. I'm also going to show it against the wall or a door. So from here, you're planting that here. That heel stays down. It's better on a hard surface, which is why I would prefer the floor, but some people can't do it on the floor. And then you push that knee forward. But this heel stays down, so you're stretching through that Achilles tendon. You come back out. So that knee's going forward. Toes are staying down, heels are staying down. And you should be able to get past your toes at least. If you can't get past your toes, that's probably a reason why you find it difficult getting down into a squat. So you need to work on this mobility here. So forward and back. If that's easy, then you do it on the floor. And what you do is you pick a point. So maybe you come about 4 inches away from the wall with your toe. And then what you try and do is get into that wall. So I'm about 4 inches away from the back of the chair here, but I can get in almost to that chair. And what you do is you do 6 of these. Push, back out. Push forward, back out. Forward, back out. But that heel is staying down. So I'll just move it back so you can see. So that heel is staying down. I can touch the chair and move back. Move back to where you can almost touch, and then we're pushing forward and back to try and touch. Heel is staying down, knee is going forward, and you're going to work through that Achilles tendon. Try and loosen that out. One more. And on that time. So I got that 4 inches past my toe over the course of those reps. Now this is the thing. That's my good side. So that's my stronger side. So that may be more mobile or less mobile than my left side. So if you go to do this and you find one side's less mobile, you may need to do a little bit more work on the other side. And that can be just as simple as doing, if you're doing your mobility work, doing an extra set on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go directly at the wall. I'm going to touch. Okay, that's easy. I'm going to move back an inch. I'm going to touch. A wee bit of resistance in the back of the leg. I'm going to move back another inch. A little bit more resistance, move back another inch. A lot of resistance there. So I can probably go about 3.5, 4 inches, which is nearly similar to my other side before I start my movement. So again, push forward. Didn't touch. Back. Don't worry about not touching. Forward. Knee goes forward. So I'm pushing the knee, keeping my heel down. Good. Good. That's 4. It's number 5. I touched that time with number 5. Number 6, if you touch easy and you're sort of nearly bouncing off the wall, move back further. Good. And relax back out of that. Good. That stretch is one of the most important stretches. If you run a lot, if you walk a lot, if you cycle, if you're not getting that dorsiflexion through the foot, then you are not going to be able to do your exercises properly for running, cycling, squatting, lunging, because you're completely restricted. If you can't bend your foot up like this here into that 90-degree position, and you tend to do more like this, and this could be from wearing high heels too much. So some of the ladies that wear high heels too much will find that if they go into a deep squat, they get a pull through their calf. That's because you're always up and too high a position. You need to work on that ankle mobility when you're doing it. So that's us worked out through the ankles. I'm going to use the chair for another one, and we're going to do a 90-90 stretch. So you're going to sit down on the chair. We're going to put her sit in a tall position. Our leg's going to be at 90 degrees on this, and then we're going to put our other foot up on the thigh, and we're going to sit tall, and we're going to gently push that out. That's a great stretch for coming through if you're tightening the hips. So it's a 90-90 stretch. So we're going to sit. Sorry, I had my camera turned, guys. So you're going to sit tall, come probably closer to the edge of your chair. And we're going to put our foot up on our thigh here, but don't be sort of slouched now. Pull yourself tall as you can, put the foot up here, and then get this leg to 90 degrees, get this leg roughly to 90 degrees. You might find a massive stretch now in that hip. You could be sitting here going, oh my God, this here is so tight. So just all I want you to do if you're in that position is pull yourself tall and stay there, because you're probably getting enough of a stretch as you are. For anyone else, and we're going to hold this for 30 seconds, guys, and then we're going to do the same in the other leg. For anyone else, sit tall. Now push that thigh down. I'm using just the back of my forearm. Hand out, push your thigh down. And I'm getting this right on that hip. So that's coming right into the hip flexor and through the TFL coming around the side of my body, round into my glute. So that's what I'm tight on this right hand side. Everything you breathe out, relax into that stretch, let it go further. You shouldn't be fighting against this stretch. It shouldn't feel as if the leg's trying to push you back up, because if it is, you're just let go of the leg. Breathe. 5 seconds, big breath in, breathe out, relax that up. Just bring that up, careful with it, put it back to the floor. Sit tall, opposite foot in the knee. Sit tall, chest nice and tall. And when you're ready, 3, 2, 1, let's go. That leg is a hell of a lot tighter than this leg. I could feel this leg pinching on my hip, but this leg, straight away when I put my foot up, I can feel it right around the outside of my glute. So I know that this side, I need to work on that side a little bit more through the glute. I need to work on my hip flexor a little bit more on this side. And breathe. So again, I've got a stretch, but it's not fighting against me. You don't want that. Breathe. 5 seconds. And time. Good. So focus on ankle mobility again. Go into the opposite side. Let the ankle pass the leg a little bit. Sit tall. Grab the toes. Put pressure here for a little bit of a stretch. And then roll. So we're going to do 6 rolls forward with that big toe. And you'll know if your ankle's really tight here. Sit tall. Don't slouch. Once you get 6 rolls forward, 6 rolls back. Relax that. Put that down, same thing other side. Let your ankle pass so you can turn the foot. So don't have your ankle bone on your thigh or behind your thigh, have it out past. Put pressure on here for a bit of a stretch, sit tall, roll that ankle. So big toes circling. And then big toe back the opposite way. Relax that down. Good. So we're going to continue with the chair. So from there, we're going to stretch through the shoulders, through the pecs. I showed this before with the door stretch, but we're going to do it here with this. So we're going to put, what we're not going to do is we're not going to grab the back of the chair, because when you grab the back of the chair, people have a tendency to fold or to pull back. What I want you to do is put your wrist on the back of that chair and do this, because that's going to allow you to stretch up. So you can't then bend this as you're doing your stretch. Do it here, and it's going to stretch in a straight arm position, like this. So I'm cupping that over the back of the chair, down in, and then I'm going to stretch down here. So it's a flat back position, stretch down, pull back. The other way you can do this is to walk into a door, put your hand up, and take a step forward, and it'll do it for you. But I don't have a door close enough to be able to do it for you. So pull back, and then push down. And you're going to get this stretch coming down through those shoulders. So we're holding this stretch. Breathe. Don't fight it. Breathe. 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 Good. And change side. Same thing other side. Rest over the top. Sit down. Pull back. Chest tall. Hold that stretch. And breathe. And relax up out of that. Good. We'll get rid of the chair. So another shoulder stretch we're going to work into is you put the hand up the back of the body, you bring the other hand round, you're trying to, that's that watch down again, excuse me. And don't worry when you watch this and think, what the hell, because this is what the towel's for also. So you put the hand up the back of the body, you bring the other one in, you grab, and then you're trying to stretch into this position. You can lean into it if you want, but this is giving a stretch to the tricep and through. So I've got good mobility in this side of the body. If you don't have that, don't freak out. This is why we've got a towel. So you put the towel up, you put your hand into this top position, you grab the towel, however far down you need to grab the towel, and then you pull down. And there's the same position. So you're pulling it into that position. If you want, then you walk up the towel, and then you pull. If it loosens out a little bit, you walk up the towel further, and then you just hold the stretch. So same thing here with the towel, or if you don't need the towel, you're grabbing here and hold. So get in the position, guys, and then hold, and then deep breaths. We're going to do 5 breath cycles here. So breathe in, breathe out, relax into that, breathe in, breathe out, let that go further, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, relax out of that, just lift that up, let it stretch down and round, relax that out, circle the arms, loosen them out, just let it in. I'm actually surprised because with that shoulder I could get that. We mightn't get it now this other side. So the other side, hand comes up. Now I can already feel that a hell of a lot more restricted. I can touch, I'm actually surprised. I can touch. So I might need to work that into a little bit more. So I can get it into here. So I can get it that side, but it's not where I want it. So there's probably about 3 inches of difference because I was able to cup the fingers with the other side. So I'm going to use this. So this hand, needs to go this way. Grab on. And then I'm going to pull down through. And I can lift this hand up as far as I want. And hold. And again, what you're doing is you're pulling the top arm across and down into this position. So once you get in the position, guys, big breath in. Breathe out. 5 breath cycles. Big breath in. Breathe out. Big breath in. Breathe out. Big breath in. Breathe out. Big breath in. And breathe out. Relax that. Shake that out. Relax that. Bring that round. So the next one we're going to do, we're going to keep that towel. You can also do this with a stick or with a broom handle or a band. If you've got a band, they're called shoulder dislocations. And you'll see why in a moment. So what you do is your hands are straight. You grab the towel as far away as you need so that you can get the towel over your head. I don't even know if I'll get this one over, depends on this shoulder. But you're coming over the head. Nope, I'll need a longer towel or need to go wider. And nope, so I'm going to grab a longer towel so I can show you. So that right shoulder of mine is tight after the push-ups we did, and I need it worked on, and thankfully my physio is open on Monday again. So I couldn't get over there, there's no shame in that. So I go wider with the towel and you come over until you can go behind. So I've got a little bit of resistance now in this, and that's all you want. You want resistance here so that you have to give it a little force through. Resistance, force through. So this is why it's called shoulder dislocations, because as you do your reps over, it should feel like it's nearly popping through. I know some people can do this with the fists about 6 inches apart. So I'm getting this now, because this shoulder's tight, I'm getting this pulling through the neck into the back of my ear. So that's how I know I've got an issue with that shoulder. So I've done that. What I'm going to do now is going to walk the hand in 1 inch or 2 inches. Then let's see if that has made a difference. Yeah. So there we go. So that's working in a little bit more. So this is what the dynamic work does rather than holding the stretches. I've walked in now another 2 inches. There we go. So that's a little bit more difficult. But still, I'm not having to bend my arms to force that through. So let's see. I'm not sure if that's roughly the same size. It shouldn't be far away. If I can get the white towel now. There we go. So I couldn't do that at the start without my arms bending. And again, this stretch is good in shoulders, but it's also pulling through that pec. A lot of times when people are tight in the shoulders, it's because your pec's tight and it's pulling the shoulder forward into that position. Dislocations and things like that will help free those out. There we go. We're back in, so this is a little bit tighter, so I need to just and last one. Good. Oh. So that one might seem odd, but that one really frees out through those shoulders, guys. You do it with a broom handle as well because it doesn't pull. This gives a little bit of a give in it. Broom handles don't. So we're going to do a few more standing and then we're going to move on to the floor. And again, like I said, this is a lot more focused on stretching today rather than just that flow that we normally do. So I went a little bit too early there. And guys, any of you that are watching this or just tuning in, if you run, if you bike, or do anything like that, triathlons, your stretching is so important. Unfortunately, the majority of people that don't stretch or do strength work are those people. And when they come in, they're usually a mess where everything's tight forward and everything's weak at the back because everything they do is a forward motion. So it's really important to free yourself out and to especially strengthen hamstrings and glutes. So we're going to widen out the feet. From here, we're going to step down into one side. So we're just going to hold that position. Chest is tall. Your ankles should be free. You should be able to get down into it. Or hips should be free now from previously what we did. Just hold that stretch position. Over to the opposite side. So like I said, we were doing a mix today of sort of the kickboxing work I've previously done, Pilates work, all the different mobility works that we've done, chin sides. So adductors, getting the stretch, coming down through, you're getting ankle mobility because the foot's flat on the floor, chin sides. And we're staying low as we chin sides as much as we can. So the position we used to do was to stay low and side to side for arm dynamic work as you were doing it to sort of loosen out as you were in that low position. And then change. And then when you come up now, just out. If you're on a slippy floor and you don't have grips in the soles of these socks, do it. Just hold that there. If you're on a carpet, walk out to where you're able to hold. And then what you can do is you can walk your hands back, sit back into it a little bit, walk forward a little bit, but ultimately hold that stretch, breathe, breathe, and then walk that in. And we'll take it onto the floor. So again, we can use the towel for these. So whenever we're coming into these stretches before, I would have mentioned about using your towel. So we're going to stay on the floor, so I'll pan this camera down. So for some of us, reaching the toes isn't possible. So again, this is where towels come in for assisted stretching. So you grab mid-foot, and then you just pull yourself forward into the position. So again, it's a tall stretch. We're going to do it for this one, guys. So foot up, knee comes in, grab that thing. Whenever you're grabbing this towel, at times what people tended to do whenever I was showing them this stretch is they would automatically pull their foot and the foot would twist in towards them. I want you to actually do the opposite and square your foot off. So if you need to put a little bit more pull on the outside, square your foot, chest is tall, and then hold the stretch. If this is all you can get and this is a comfortable stretch, do that. If you can get further, go further into the stretch. If you don't need the towel, you can grab the toes, go further into the stretch. Breathe in, raise up slightly, breathe out, go a little bit further. So breathe in, raise up slightly, breathe out, go a little bit further. If you're going further with the towel, it involves breathe in, raise up slightly, grab the towel a little bit lower, pull yourself in. Breathe in, pull yourself in. Breathe in, pull yourself in. And then we'll bring that up. Chin sides. So same thing, foot up, knee together. From here, sit into it. Towel, if you're using it, goes over the foot. Square your foot off so that your toes don't look like they're being twisted in towards you. They should be square at you. Chest tall, breathe out, walk forward. Again, we're not slouching, we're staying tall, going into that stretch. Breathe up, go forward. Again, you can walk both hands forward if you want. You can cross the hands over if you want, as long as the toes stay square. You can pull yourself into it if you want. Breathe out. Big breath in, sit up. Breathe out, go further. Big breath in, go further. And then bring that up. So we're going to go soles of the feet together. Chest is tall. Sit up nice and tall. Push these out and then breathe. So I'm not actually putting my elbows against it. A lot of the old time stretching they would have done in karate and kickboxing, they would have grabbed here and then they would have started this. But you're slouching. So you're already in a bad position for that stretch because you've slouched. If you can stay tall and then do that, like some of the most mobile guys can, that's fine. But if you can't, I tend to just grab the toes. Toes together, pull myself tall, and then push these out themselves. If this is a bad position and you find that you're stuck in this position, then you probably need to sit up on a chair or a sofa in order to try this stretch. Where you would sit on the sofa back a bit, pull your toes up on, and what that does is it elevates you up off the floor slightly. Or sit in a small block so that you just want your butt higher than your feet, sorry, in order to be able to get in a better position. And relax that. Good. So the last stretch we're going to do, guys, to finish this out, is we're going to do a 3-way hamstring stretch. So your hamstring, like your tricep, has 3 muscles that come round it. And whenever we stretch like this, you're getting a stretch sort of down the middle, not really too much on the inside or outside. The 3-way hamstring stretch does this for you. So we're going to grab the towel. You may need a longer towel for this, depending on how tight you are. Sit back into that position and pull that leg with me. So that leg is now, I'm keeping it straight. So that's the reason I started on the floor and work back with the leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold this for 15 seconds. Once we hold this for 15 seconds, then we're going to go out to the side and then pull towards us for 15 seconds. And then we're going to come across the body and then pull up. And this stretch is going to be excruciating for some of you, but we're only doing 15 seconds in each one. So whenever you're ready, just lock your leg out. I don't care if your leg's here. That's fine, as long as your leg's straight. Don't be here with a bent knee. You need to lock that leg out. So when you're ready, 15 seconds, 3, 2, 1, and we go, and hold. Don't fight the stretch, breathe and relax. Straight leg, tension on. Five seconds, then we're going to go out to the outside. And 3, 2, 1, let that leg fall out. Once you've got to the position you can control, pull to get the stretch, and breathe and hold 15 seconds. This shoulder shouldn't be lifting. If it is, you're too low. Five seconds. Good, bring that up. We're going to go the opposite way. We're going to cross the body. Opposite shoulder stays down, so that's your guide. If your shoulder starts to lift, come back up slightly. Doesn't matter if you're only 2 inches past here. Doesn't matter. I can get further because I'm stretching a lot longer than most. And then pull up. And this stretch, keep your legs straight. You'll get a big stretch down. This is not nice. Breathe. And bend the knee, relax that down. Good. Bring it up. Now we have to do the other leg. So that cross body hamstring stretch gets right in, upper hamstring into that glute. It's not a nice stretch at all, but it's very effective. So again, straighten the leg, toes back towards you. Towel is mid-foot, toes are square. Breathe in, breathe out, bring that with you. Doesn't matter how far you went, doesn't matter if it's here at all. You can do it from here just using a smaller range of motion. I can get further just because I can get further. This leg doesn't go as far as that leg. 3, 2, 1, breathe. 15 seconds. Relax that. Out to the outside. Opposite shoulder stays down. That's your guide as to how far you go. And then pull up. Breathe. So opposite shoulder, opposite hip should be comfortable. Back to center, opposite side now. Grab the towel with the opposite hand. Opposite shoulder stays down, cross the body. I can already feel this kicking in. I need to relax back a wee bit. And pull up and breathe 15 seconds. Five seconds. Hold that in. And bend the knee, relax it in and down. And that's it. So, you should be well loosened out after that there, guys. I know I am. After those sort of last lot of weeks of training, my hips come through my lower back. My shoulders were feeling the brunt of it. And this is it whenever you train every day. If you train, the more often you train, the more often you need to do your mobility work and your stretching, your static stretching as well. So they're not the same thing. The old school way of just hold your stretch, do it before, and then after you finish, people do this here and do this here and do this and then get on the car and drive home. It does not help. So injuries at times can come from just not looking after your mobility, not looking after your flexibility, which are two different things. So that's the reason we started with movement work. So you were moving through the stretches to get the sort of joints mobilized, and then we went into more holding the stretches to actually stretch through that body part. But you should feel a lot more freer after that, guys. If you're just tuning in, watch it back. This is a full stretch position. It's not the sort of Pilates flow we usually do, which is good. This was more based on actually loosening you out. Have a good Saturday, guys. Have a good weekend. We have 3 guest speakers coming in next week for us. Sarah Barr, New Beginnings Counselling, is coming in to do some cognitive behaviour work for therapy. It is more to do with mindset. We have Nikki Makeup coming in to do makeup tutorial, and then we have Richard from The Counter coming in to do a talk about wine on Friday night. Where else? So have a good one, guys. Enjoy the weekend.